Welcome to The Storyteller. Today, we're diving into 1984 by George Orwell. This classic dystopian novel was published in 1949. It warns us about the dangers of totalitarianism and loss of freedom. The story is set in a bleak future. The world is divided into three superstates. The novel focuses on Oceania, ruled by a party led by Big Brother. Big Brother is everywhere. He watches everyone through telescreens and spies. The government controls everything. History is rewritten to fit the party's lies. Language is controlled through newspeak. Newspeak limits free thought by reducing words. The party's slogan is, "War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength." These contradictory phrases show how the party controls truth. The main character is Winston Smith. He works at the Ministry of Truth. His job is to alter past records to match the party's current story. Winston secretly hates the party. He dreams of freedom and truth. Winston starts writing a diary. This is illegal and dangerous. He meets Julia, a woman who also rebels. Together, they try to resist the party's control. They have a brief, secret romance. But the party is always watching. Winston and Julia are caught by the thought police. They are tortured and brainwashed. Winston is forced to betray Julia. In the end, he loves Big Brother. The novel ends on a dark note. Individual freedom is crushed. The party's power is absolute. It's a chilling warning about what happens when governments control truth and thought. Let us start. Chapter 1. Introduction and Historical Context of 1984 by George Orwell. Welcome to The Storyteller. Today, we begin a journey into one of the most powerful novels ever written. 1984 by George Orwell. This book is a warning about power, control, and freedom. It was published in 1949, but its message is still important today. Let's start by meeting the man behind the book, George Orwell. Orwell was born Eric Arthur Blair in 1903. He was British. He grew up watching the world change. He lived through 2 world wars. He saw dictators rise. He fought in the Spanish Civil War. He hated oppression and lies. He loved truth and freedom. Orwell's experiences shaped his writing. He saw governments use fear and lies to control people. He wanted to warn us about what could happen if power goes unchecked. 1984 is his vision of a dark future. After World War II, the world was scared. Millions had died. Cities were destroyed. New tensions grew between superpowers. The Cold War began. The United States and the Soviet Union faced off. Both wanted to control the world. People feared nuclear war. Governments watched their citizens more closely. Privacy was shrinking. Orwell wrote 1984 in this tense time. He imagined a world where governments watch everything, where truth is controlled, where people lose their freedom to think and speak. The word totalitarianism describes this kind of control. It means total power over people's lives. One party or leader controls everything. The government controls the media, economy, and even private life. People have no freedom to speak or think against the state. They live in fear. Orwell saw totalitarianism in Stalin's Soviet Union. Millions were killed or sent to labor camps. The government controlled all information. People feared arrest or death. He also saw Nazi Germany's propaganda machine. Hitler used lies and hate to control people. Orwell's time in the Spanish Civil War added to his views. He saw propaganda and violence from all sides. He witnessed betrayal and fear. These experiences made his warning stronger. Orwell also lived in London during World War II. He saw food shortages and air raids. He experienced government control in daily life. These details appear in 1984's setting. When Orwell finished 1984 and 1948, the world was still recovering. The book was published in 1949. It shocked readers with its dark vision. Terms like Big Brother, thought police, and doublethink entered popular culture. The book warned about dangers of government control. It remains relevant today. Now, let's look at the world Orwell created in 1984. The story is set in a future world. The year is 1984, or Close to it, the world is divided into three superstates: Oceania, Eurasia, and East Asia. These superstates are always at war, but the war is confusing. The enemy changes, but the war never ends. People don't know who they are fighting. The war is a tool to control the people. It keeps them scared and obedient. Our story takes place in Oceania. Oceania covers the Americas, the British Isles, Australia, and parts of Africa. The capital city is London, now called Airstrip 1. London is a gray, crumbling place. The buildings are old and falling apart. The streets are dirty. The air is thick with pollution. People live in poverty and fear. Oceania is ruled by a powerful group called the Party. The Party controls everything. It controls the government, the media, and the military. It controls what people see, hear, and think. The Party's leader is Big Brother. Big Brother may or may not be real, but his face is everywhere. Posters, telescreens, and statues show his image. The slogan says, "Big Brother is watching you." This reminds people they are always watched. Surveillance is everywhere in Oceania. Telescreens are in every home and public place. They broadcast propaganda and watch citizens. People cannot turn off the telescreens. The thought police watch for rebellious thoughts. No one knows who is a spy. Neighbors spy on neighbors. Families do not trust each other. Privacy does not exist. The Party controls history. It rewrites the past to fit its needs. Old newspapers and books are changed or destroyed. This is done through the Ministry of Truth. Winston Smith works there. His job is to change records and erase people who disappeared. The past is whatever the Party says it is. Language is also controlled. The Party creates a new language called Newspeak. Newspeak removes words that could express rebellion. If you cannot say it, you cannot think it. This limits freedom and keeps people obedient. The Party controls society through 4 ministries. The Ministry of Truth controls information and propaganda. The Ministry of Love controls law and order using torture and fear. The Ministry of Peace manages war. The Ministry of Plenty controls the economy and food supplies. Despite the name, the Ministry of Plenty causes shortages. Food and goods are scarce. People queue for hours for basic items. Rationing is strict. The Party controls everything people need to survive. The people of Oceania live in fear and poverty. They have little hope. They are watched constantly. They are taught to love Big Brother. They are punished for thinking freely. Society is divided into 3 classes: the inner party, the rulers; the outer party, middle-class workers like Winston; the pros, the working-class majority. The inner party lives in comfort and power. They have good food, housing, and privileges. They enforce the party's rules. The outer party works hard but lives under strict control. They are watched closely. They have few freedoms. The pros make up 85% of the population. They live in poverty but have more freedom. The Party ignores them because they are not seen as a threat. Winston believed the pros hold the key to change. They have numbers and spirit, but they are mostly uneducated and distracted. Fear is the Party's main tool. People are afraid to speak or think freely. They fear arrest, torture, and death. The Party uses propaganda to control minds. They rewrite facts and history. They create enemies to hate. They hold public events like Hate Week to stir anger. The Party controls even personal relationships. Love and loyalty belong only to Big Brother. Sex is controlled and discouraged. Winston and Julia's secret love is rebellion. It is dangerous and rare. The environment reflects the mood of the world. It is bleak, gray, and lifeless. There is no beauty or joy. Even nature seems controlled and dead. Orwell's world is a warning. It shows what happens when power is absolute, when governments control truth, language, and love, when fear replaces freedom. It reminds us to protect our rights, to question authority, to value truth and individuality. As you imagine this world, think about your own. Are there signs of control and surveillance? Are truths being hidden or changed? Are freedoms being lost? Orwell's world is a mirror. It reflects dangers we must face. Thank you for joining this introduction. Chapter 2, Setting and World Building of 1984 by George Orwell. Now, we explore the setting and world building of 1984. This world is dark, controlled, and full of fear. It shapes the story and the lives of the characters. Imagine a world divided into three giant superstates. These superstates are called Oceania, Eurasia, and East Asia. They are always at war, but the war is confusing. The enemy changes, but the war never ends. People don't know who they are fighting. The war is a tool to control the people. It keeps them scared and obedient. Our story takes place in Oceania. Oceania covers the Americas, the British Isles, Australia, and parts of Africa. The capital city is London, now called Airstrip 1. London is a gray, crumbling place. The buildings are old and falling apart. The streets are dirty. The air is thick with pollution. People live in poverty and fear. Oceania is ruled by a powerful group called the Party. The Party controls everything. It controls the government, the media, and the military. It controls what people see, hear, and think. The Party's leader is Big Brother. Big Brother may or may not be real, but his face is everywhere. Posters, telescreens, and statues show his image. The slogan says, "Big Brother is watching you." This reminds people they are always watched. Surveillance is everywhere in Oceania. Telescreens are in every home and public place. They broadcast propaganda and watch citizens. People cannot turn off the telescreens. The thought police watch for rebellious thoughts. No one knows who is a spy. Neighbors spy on neighbors. Families do not trust each other. Privacy does not exist. The Party controls history. It rewrites the past to fit its needs. Old newspapers and books are changed or destroyed. This is done through the Ministry of Truth. Winston Smith works there. His job is to change records and erase people who disappeared. The past is whatever the Party says it is. Language is also controlled. The Party creates a new language called Newspeak. Newspeak removes words that could express rebellion. If you cannot say it, you cannot think it. This limits freedom and keeps people obedient. The Party controls society through 4 ministries. The Ministry of Truth controls information and propaganda. The Ministry of Love controls law and order using torture and fear. The Ministry of Peace manages war. The Ministry of Plenty controls the economy and food supplies. Despite the name, the Ministry of Plenty causes shortages. Food and goods are scarce. People queue for hours for basic items. Rationing is strict. The Party controls everything people need to survive. The people of Oceania live in fear and poverty. They have little hope. They are watched constantly. They are taught to love Big Brother. They are punished for thinking freely. Society is divided into 3 classes: the inner party, the rulers; the outer party, middle-class workers like Winston; the proles, the working-class majority. The inner party lives in comfort and power. They have good food, housing, and privileges. They enforce the party's rules. The outer party works hard but lives under strict control. They are watched closely. They have few freedoms. The proles make up 85% of the population. They live in poverty but have more freedom. The Party ignores them because they are not seen as a threat. Winston believed the proles hold the key to change. They have numbers and spirit, but they are mostly uneducated and distracted. Fear is the Party's main tool. People are afraid to speak or think freely. They fear arrest, torture, and death. The Party uses propaganda to control minds. They rewrite facts and history. They create enemies to hate. They hold public events like Hate Week to stir anger. The Party controls even personal relationships. Love and loyalty belong only to Big Brother. Sex is controlled and discouraged. Winston and Julia's secret love is rebellion. It is dangerous and rare. The environment reflects the mood of the world. It is bleak, gray, and lifeless. There is no beauty or joy. Even nature seems controlled and dead. Orwell's world is a warning. It shows what happens when power is absolute. When governments control truth, language, and love. When fear replaces freedom. It reminds us to protect our rights, to question authority, to value truth and individuality. As you imagine this world, think about your own. Are there signs of control and surveillance? Are truths being hidden or changed? Are freedoms being lost? Orwell's world is a mirror. It reflects dangers we must face. Chapter 3. Main Characters and Their Roles of 1984 by George Orwell. In this chapter, we dive into the main characters of 1984. Each character represents a key idea in Orwell's warning about power and control. Let's meet them. Winston Smith. Winston Smith is a protagonist. He is a quiet, thoughtful man in his late 30s. He works at the Ministry of Truth. His job is to rewrite history. Winston secretly hates the party. He dreams of freedom and truth. He keeps a secret diary. Writing a diary is illegal. This is his first act of rebellion. Winston is brave but scared. He knows the party watches everything. He fears the thought police. Despite this, he questions the party's control. He wants to remember the past as it really was. Winston represents a human desire for freedom and truth. Julia. Julia is Winston's lover. She is young and works in the fiction department. Julia is bold and rebellious. She hides her hatred of the party well. She rebels through small acts of pleasure and defiance. Her rebellion is practical, not political. Julia represents youthful resistance and personal freedom. Julia and Winston meet secretly. Their love is dangerous. It gives them hope and joy, but it also puts them at risk. O'Brien. O'Brien is a powerful member of the inner party. He is intelligent and manipulative. O'Brien pretends to be Winston's friend. He tricks Winston into trusting him, but O'Brien is loyal to the party. He tortures Winston to break his spirit. O'Brien represents the party's power to control minds. Big Brother. Big Brother is the symbol of the party. He may or may not be real. His face is everywhere. Posters say, "Big Brother is watching you." This reminds people they are always watched. Big Brother represents total government control and fear. Emmanuel Goldstein. Goldstein is the party's enemy. He is blamed for all problems. The party uses him to unite people in hatred. Goldstein represents rebellion and hope, but he is also a tool for the party's control. The proles. The proles are the working class majority. They live in poverty but have more freedom. The party ignores them because they are not seen as a threat. Winston believes the proles hold the key to change. They have numbers and spirit, but they are mostly uneducated and distracted. Each character shows a part of Orwell's message. Winston shows the struggle for freedom. Julia shows personal rebellion. O'Brien shows the party's cruelty. Big Brother shows total control. Goldstein shows the idea of resistance. The proles show hope for the future. These characters help us understand the dangers of totalitarianism. They remind us why truth and individuality matter. Chapter 4, Plot Summary, Part 1 of 1984 by George Orwell. This is the first part of the novel. It introduces us to Winston Smith and his world. It sets the stage for the struggle ahead. A cold April day in London. The story opens on a cold April day. Winston Smith, the main character, walks through London. But this London is not like the one we know. It is called Airstrip 1. It is part of Oceania, a superstate. The city is gray, dirty, and crumbling. Buildings are old and falling apart. The air is thick with pollution. People live in fear and poverty. Winston works at the Ministry of Truth. His job is to rewrite history. He changes old newspapers and records. He makes the past fit the party's lies. The party controls everything. It controls what people see, hear, and think. Big Brother is watching you. As Winston enters his apartment building, he sees a large poster. It shows the face of Big Brother. Big Brother is the leader of the party. His face is everywhere. The poster says, "Big Brother is watching you." This reminds people they are always being watched. Telescreens in every home and street watch citizens day and night. Privacy does not exist. Winston's apartment is small and shabby. He lives in Victory Mansions, a rundown building. The telescreen in his flat cannot be turned off. But Winston finds a small alcove hidden from the screen. Here, he feels some privacy. The diary, a dangerous act. Winston has a secret. He owns a diary. Writing in it is illegal. It is called a thought crime. If caught, he could be tortured or killed. But Winston cannot stop himself. He begins writing on April 4th, 1984. He writes, "Down with Big Brother." He knows this is dangerous. He feels panic, but continues. This diary is his first act of rebellion. The 2 minutes hate. Every day, Winston attends a 2 minutes hate. This is a party ritual. Citizens watch a screen showing enemies of the party. Most often, they see Emmanuel Goldstein. Goldstein is the party's enemy. He is blamed for all problems. The crowd shouts and screams. They hate Goldstein with passion. This ritual stirs fear and loyalty to Big Brother. Winston's work and paranoia. Winston works in the records department. He changes history to fit the party's needs. He notices a woman at work. She works in the fiction department. Winston thinks she might be a spy. He is afraid of her. He does not trust many people. Fear and suspicion fill his life. The party's control over reality. The party controls everything. It rewrites history constantly. It controls language through newspeak. Newspeak removes words that could express rebellion. If people cannot say it, they cannot think it. This limits freedom. The party's slogans are everywhere. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. These slogans are contradictions. They confuse people. They keep people obedient. Winston's memories and doubts. Winston remembers a time before the party. He wonders if the past was different. The party says Oceania has always been at war with Eurasia, but Winston recalls a time when Oceania was allied with Eurasia. He questions the party's truth. This is dangerous. He also doubts the story about Goldstein. He wonders if Goldstein is real, or if he is just a tool for the party. The knock at the door. As Winston writes in his diary, he hears a knock. He is terrified. He wonders if the thought police have found him. The knock is heavy and slow. The chapter ends with Winston going to answer the door. This leaves us in suspense. The world of 1984 as a dystopia. 1984 is a dystopian novel. A dystopia is a world worse than our own. It is a place of fear, control, and loss. Orwell imagined a future where governments watch everything, where truth is controlled, where people lose freedom. The world Orwell created is bleak. It shows what can happen if power is unchecked. It warns us to protect freedom and truth. The first part introduces Winston Smith. It shows his life under control. It shows his secret thoughts and feelings. It introduces the dangerous world of Oceania. It sets up the struggle between freedom and control. Reflection for the audience. Imagine living in Winston's world. Always watched. Always afraid. No privacy. No freedom to speak or think. How would you feel? What would you do? Would you rebel like Winston? Or hide like most people? Think about these questions. They are at the heart of Orwell's warning. Chapter 5, Plot Summary, Part 2 of 1984 by George Orwell. We continue the story of 1984. This is Part 2 of the plot summary. Here, Winston's secret rebellion grows. We see his relationship with Julia deepen. We learn more about the party's control. Lunch with Syme. Winston has lunch with a man named Syme. Syme works on the Newspeak dictionary. Newspeak is the party's new language. It removes words to limit thought. Syme explains this to Winston. He says Newspeak will make thought crime impossible. If people cannot say rebellious thoughts, they cannot think them. Winston thinks Syme is too smart. He believes Syme will be vaporized soon. Being too intelligent is dangerous in Oceania. Parsons and spies. Winston's neighbor, Parsons, joins them. Parsons is a loyal party member. He is proud of his children. His kids are part of the spies program. They watch adults for rule breaking. Parsons brags about their loyalty. This shows how the party controls even families. The dark-haired girl. Winston notices a dark-haired girl watching him. He fears she might be thought police. He worries about face crime. Face crime means showing disloyalty in your expression. Winston tries to control his face, but he feels scared and paranoid. The chocolate ration announcement. An announcement comes from the Ministry of Plenty. They say the chocolate ration will increase. But Winston remembers it was cut the day before. This confuses him. He wonders if he is the only one who remembers. Everyone else cheers for the increase. This shows how the party controls reality. People accept whatever the party says. Winston's secret diary. That evening, Winston writes in his diary. He recalls his last sexual encounter. It was with a prostitute. The party hates sex and pleasure. They want to make sex a duty, not joy. Winston's former wife hated sex. They separated when they could not have children. Winston longed for real pleasure. He sees it as rebellion, the way to control. Winston feels trapped. His nervous system works against him. He must control every expression and feeling. Even a twitch could mean arrest. The party's control is total. It invades mind and body. The girl's role. The dark-haired girl works in the fiction department. She is young and rebellious. She secretly hates the party. Winston wonders if she will be an enemy or ally. Their glances hint at a future connection. Themes in this part. This section shows the party's control over language through newspeak, family through the spies program, reality through changing facts, personal life through sex and fear. Winston's rebellion grows quietly. He risks everything by writing and thinking freely. Imagine living in Winston's world, constantly watched and controlled, afraid to show your true feelings. How would you survive? Would you rebel or hide? Think about this as we continue the story. Thank you for watching this part. Next, we will explore Winston and Julia's secret love and the dangers they face. Stay tuned for part 3 of the plot summary. Chapter 6, Plot Summary, Part 3 of 1984 by George Orwell. Today, we reach the final part of the plot summary of 1984. This is where Winston's story takes its darkest turn. We see his capture, torture, and ultimate fate. Winston's capture and imprisonment. Winston and Julia are caught by the thought police. Their secret rebellion is over. They are taken to the Ministry of Love. This is the place for punishment and control. Winston faces brutal torture. O'Brien, once a trusted figure, leads the torture. He reveals his true loyalty to the party. The torture and re-education. Winston is tortured physically and mentally. O'Brien explains the party's goal, total power. The party wants to control not just actions, but thoughts. They want to reshape reality itself. Winston suffers pain, starvation, and isolation. He struggles to resist. The 3 stages of torture. Winston's re-education has 3 stages. 1. Learning. 2. Understanding. 3. Acceptance. In the first stage, Winston learns the party's power. He is beaten and broken. He realizes resistance is futile. In the second stage, O'Brien intensifies torture. He uses a device called the dial to cause pain. Winston tries to answer questions correctly. Mistakes bring more pain. In the final stage, Winston faces room 101. This room holds a person's worst fear. For Winston, it is rats. The rats terrify him beyond words. In terror, Winston betrays Julia. He begs O'Brien to torture her instead. Winston's broken spirit. After room 101, Winston is broken. He betrays his deepest love and beliefs. He is released back into society, but he is no longer the same man. The final scene. Winston sits in the Chestnut Tree Cafe. This is where broken party members go. He drinks victory gin. He watches the telescreen. He hears news of Oceania's victory in war. He feels proud and happy. He traces 2 + 2 is equal to 5 in the dust. This shows his acceptance of party lies. Winston meets Julia again. They admit to betraying each other. Their love is gone. They feel nothing for one another. The meaning of the ending. Winston has been fully reprogrammed. He loves Big Brother. He accepts the party's control. His spirit is crushed. The ending is bleak. It shows the power of totalitarianism. The party wins over the individual. Famous quotes from Part 3. If you want to picture the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. He loved Big Brother. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. Chapter 7, Themes and Symbols of 1984 by George Orwell. Today, we explore the major themes and symbols in 1984. These ideas reveal the heart of Orwell's warning. They help us understand the dangers of total control. Major themes. 1. Power and control. Power is the central theme. The party controls everything. It controls jobs, history, thoughts, and even love. If the party dislikes someone, they can make them disappear. This is called being vaporized. The party controls the past and the future. They rewrite history to make themselves look good. They control what people remember and believe. 2. Surveillance and fear. The party watches citizens all the time. Telescreens are everywhere. They watch and listen. The thought police spy on thoughts. Privacy does not exist. Fear keeps people obedient. Neighbors spy on neighbors. Families distrust each other. 3. Language is mind control. Language shapes thought. The party creates newspeak. Newspeak removes words that could express rebellion. If you cannot say it, you cannot think it. This limits freedom. It controls minds. 4. Reality control and doublethink. The party controls reality. They change facts in history. They force people to accept lies. This is called doublethink. It means holding two opposite beliefs at once. People believe contradictions as truth. This keeps them confused and obedient. 5. Individual versus collective. The party wants to erase individuality. They want everyone to think and act the same. Winston fights to keep his own thoughts, but the party tries to destroy him. Individuality is dangerous to power. 6. Sex, love, and loyalty. The party controls sex and love. They want to stop personal loyalties. Winston and Julia's love is rebellion. It is rare and dangerous. Love becomes a political act. 7. Class struggle. Society is divided into classes. Inner party rulers, outer party workers, proles, working class majority. The inner party lives in comfort. The outer party works under strict rules. The proles have more freedom but less power. Winston believed the proles hold hope for change. Important symbols. 1. Big Brother. Big Brother is the party symbol. His face is everywhere. He watches constantly. He represents control and fear. People are told, Big Brother is watching you. 2. The telescreen. Telescreens watch people all the time. They broadcast propaganda and spy. They symbolize total power. 3. Newspeak. Newspeak is the party's language. It limits thought by limiting words. It symbolizes mental control. 4. The memory hole. The memory hole destroys old documents. It symbolizes control over truth and history. It erases the past. 5. Emmanuel Goldstein. Goldstein is the party's enemy. He symbolizes rebellion and hope, but he is also a tool for control. The party uses him as a scapegoat. 6. The glass paperweight. Winston buys a glass paperweight. It symbolizes beauty and the past. It represents hope and love. When it breaks, Winston's dreams shatter. 7. The red-armed prole woman. Winston watches a singing prole woman. She symbolizes hope and freedom. She represents the strength of the working class. 8. The false equation. 2 plus 2 is equal to 5. This phrase symbolizes the party's lies. It shows how people are forced to accept false truths. At the end, Winston accepts this lie, showing his defeat. 9. Room 101. Room 101 holds a person's worst fear. It symbolizes the party's ultimate power. It breaks the will of prisoners. 10. The boot stamping on a human face. This image symbolizes brutal oppression. It shows the party's endless cruelty. Power through domination. Why themes and symbols matter. Orwell uses these themes and symbols to warn us. They show how power can destroy freedom. They remind us to protect truth and individuality. They warn about surveillance and propaganda. They teach us to question authority. Famous quotes about themes. Who controls the past controls the future. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. Big Brother is watching you. If you want to picture the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. Chapter 8. Famous quotes and their meanings of 1984 by George Orwell. Now, we explore some of the most powerful quotes from 1984. These quotes reveal the heart of Orwell's warning. They help us understand the novel's deep themes. 1. It was a bright, cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13. This is the very first line of the book. It feels strange and unsettling. Clocks don't usually strike 13. This shows us the world is different. It sets a tone of unease. The future Orwell imagines is not normal. It is controlled and strange. 2. Big Brother is watching you. This phrase is everywhere in the novel. Big Brother is the party's leader. His face is on posters and telescreens. This quote reminds citizens they are always watched. It creates fear and control. No one can escape Big Brother's eyes. 3. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. These are the party's slogans. They sound like contradictions. This is called doublethink. Doublethink means holding two opposite beliefs at once. The party uses it to confuse people. It controls minds by twisting truth. 4. Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. This quote shows the party's power over history. The party rewrites the past to suit itself. This shapes what people believe. By controlling history, the party controls the future. Truth becomes whatever the party says. 5. Doublethink means the power of holding two contradictory beliefs in one's mind simultaneously and accepting both of them. Doublethink is key to the party's control. It forces people to accept lies as truth. This stops rebellion. It controls thought and reality. 6. If you want to picture the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. This is a dark and powerful image. It shows endless oppression. The party crushes all resistance. There is no escape or hope. 7. Freedom is a freedom to say that 2 plus 2 make 4. If that is granted, all else follows. Winston says this early in the book. It means freedom is about truth. If you can say what is true, you are free. If truth is controlled, freedom is lost. 8. In the face of pain, there are no heroes. Winston thinks this during torture. Pain breaks even the strongest people. The party uses pain to control. It shows human weakness. 9. Perhaps one did not want to be loved so much as to be understood. This quote shows human desire for connection. People want to be truly known. In 1984, this is rare. The party destroys real relationships. 10. The best books are those that tell you what you know already. Winston reflects on this. Books confirm what we feel inside. They give comfort and clarity. Truth resonates deeply. Why these quotes matter. These quotes reveal Orwell's warnings. They show how language controls thought. They expose dangers of propaganda. They warn about loss of freedom. They remind us to protect truth and individuality. Chapter 9, Impact and Legacy of 1984 by George Orwell. Now, we explore the lasting impact and legacy of 1984. This novel is more than a story. It has shaped culture, language, and politics for decades. Its warnings remain relevant today. A powerful warning against totalitarianism. 1984 was written in 1949. It reflects Orwell's deep fear of totalitarian governments. Orwell saw how power can be abused. He showed how governments can control minds and lives. The party in 1984 uses surveillance, propaganda, and fear. It erases truth and controls history. This warning resonates across generations. Influence on language and culture. Orwell introduced many terms that are now common. Big Brother means constant surveillance. Thought police means control over thoughts. Doublethink means believing two opposite ideas. Newspeak means language designed to limit freedom. These words describe real-world dangers. The adjective Orwellian describes oppressive governments. It warns about lies, censorship, and control. The novel's influence reaches music, film, and art. Songs by David Bowie and Radiohead reference 1984. Reality TV shows like Big Brother borrow its name. Political and social relevance. 1984 warns about the balance between security and liberty. It shows how fear can justify control. The novel's themes appear in many countries. Even free societies face challenges. Surveillance and misinformation are real concerns. The book helps us recognize threats to democracy. After political events like the 2016 U.S. election, 1984 saw a surge in popularity. People saw parallels between the novel and real life. Terms like alternative facts echoed Orwell's warnings. This shows the novel's lasting power, the loss of truth and memory. Orwell feared the loss of objective truth. The party controls history and facts. When truth fades, society becomes confused. People accept lies as reality. This is dangerous. The memory hole in the novel destroys records. This stops people from learning the truth. Without truth, freedom cannot survive. The destruction of empathy and love. 1984 warns about losing human connection. The party destroys love and trust. Relationships become tools of control. Winston and Julia's love is rare and rebellious. The novel shows how total control harms the human spirit, enduring legacy and continued relevance. 1984 remains a classic. It is studied worldwide. It inspires debate and reflection. Its lessons are timeless. Orwell's vision guides us to stay vigilant. His warnings about power and control remain clear. We must defend truth, freedom, and privacy. Reflection for today. Today's world faces challenges Orwell imagined. Mass surveillance is common. Social media spreads misinformation. People struggle to find truth. 1984 helps us understand these problems. It teaches us to protect our rights, to question authority, to value freedom. Summary of impact and legacy. 1984 shaped language and culture. It warned about totalitarianism and mind control. It remains relevant in modern society. Its message is a call to vigilance and freedom. Thank you for joining the storyteller on this journey through 1984. This novel leaves us with a haunting ending. Winston, once a rebel, is broken. He betrays Julia, and she betrays him. After torture and brainwashing, Winston loves Big Brother. His spirit is crushed. He accepts the party's lies. He believes whatever the party says, even that 2 + 2 is equal to 5. This is Orwell's grim warning about total control. But there is a deeper lesson. The party had to use extreme force to break Winston. It took endless hours, torture, and betrayal. One man took all their effort. The party cannot watch every person so closely. There are too many people. For every Winston broken, another may resist. This small hope keeps the story from being completely hopeless. What can we learn? 1984 teaches us about the dangers of unchecked power. It warns us about surveillance and censorship. It shows how truth can be manipulated. It reveals how fear destroys freedom. It reminds us to protect our privacy and individuality. It urges us to question authority and seek truth. Love and human connection are powerful. Winston and Julia's love was rebellion. But even love can be broken by fear. This shows how totalitarianism attacks the human spirit. Reflection for you. Think about the world today. Are there signs of Big Brother? Is truth being twisted? Are freedoms at risk? 1984 asks us to stay vigilant, to protect what makes us human. Final words. Orwell's vision is a warning and a call to action. We must cherish freedom, truth, and love. We must resist control and lies. The fight for freedom is ongoing. Every small act of truth matters. Thank you for watching The Storyteller. If this series helped you understand 1984, please like and subscribe. Share your thoughts and favorite quotes in the comments. Let's keep the conversation alive. Remember, the power to control the future lies in our hands. Stay aware, stay free,